Hello and welcome to Go Ballistic. The Scottish Suns look back at a Premiership weekend and look ahead to another midweek of scintillating European football. I'm Roger Hanna. We've got Kris Boyd with us. Boydie, we have to start with the big Champions League game in Croatia tomorrow. Celtic on form, away to a Dinamo Zagreb side, probably not in good form at the minute.
Yeah, I mean, I think they've been struggling even domestically as well. 5 games without a win now, I think it is. And Celtic will fancy their chances of going to Croatia and getting something, Roger. I think you look at Celtic domestically, Brendan Rodgers has been able to chop and change, and it's not really had any impact on the scoreline. Whoever's came in has probably. They're probably giving more of a headache because now, like I said, every single person at Celtic seems to be on form. You're looking, sometimes you're bringing somebody in, and the performance levels might not be there. But for Brendan Rodgers, his full squad seem to be at the max level right now. I don't think there's anyone letting Celtic down, and it's a good headache for Brendan Rodgers to have. He will fancy chances of going over there and coming back home with at least a point, but I'm sure he'll be looking to go and get all 3.
Boy, I listened to the show with yourself and Robert Grieve last Monday when I was away in my Christmas shopping, getting you something for later in the month, and you were discussing, is it Arnie Engels, is it Paulo Bernardo? This might sound daft given it's a Champions League game. Could Brendan Rodgers rotate his squad tomorrow night with one eye on the Premier Sports Cup final against Rangers on Sunday?
Yeah, I think you can. That was the debate last week, Roger, but I tell you something, somebody else that should be involved in that is Luke McCowan. His form's been outstanding for Celtic since he's joined, and he's another one that could probably feel as if I deserve a start. Especially at this level, Brendan Rodgers has got the luxury, shall we say, of being able to chop and change and bringing in some players that whenever he wants. But I think Brendan Rodgers will look at this and it's an opportunity to go away from home, win a Champions League game. And see where then deal with Sunday once it comes along. Yeah. You've got to remember, you look at, Celtic play Tuesday, 5:45. They've got it's a couple of days, more or less rest on Rangers as well. Not that we're getting excuses in already, Roger. Wouldn't be doing that, would we? But I think that it's a good fixture for Brendan Rodgers, albeit it's a away game in Europe. They're always tough, but he will feel as if they can continue this run they're on ahead of what's going to be a huge cup final on Sunday. But you look at Brendan Rodgers and you look at Celtic, and just everything right now just seems to be clicking. It wasn't their best defensive performance on Saturday, shall we say? Still come away with a clean sheet. And the goalkeeper, Kasper Schmeichel, had probably more to do than they would expected. But when he's asked to make save, he makes them. And there were big saves. I think the one right at the start from Kukarevic, I think he should have done better and moved it. And then Schmeichel's probably caught in no man's land, but he didn't. Schmeichel stood up, was able to get the block in and got it away. And there was a few other saves after that as well. But you just look at Celtic. Whoever plays at left back doesn't seem to be. It doesn't really seem to be an issue. Centre back, there was probably more opportunities given up on Saturday, but Carter Vickers will come straight back in to that heart of defence on Tuesday night, and Johnson as well. And then you go into the middle of the pitch. It could be anyone. McGregor's an absolute stick on. You would imagine Hatate's a stick on, and then it'll be one from the 3 that we mentioned. And in the forward areas, he can chop and change and do whatever he wants. But I don't think Brendan Rodgers will get too focused on Sunday yet, because at this level, when you've got an opportunity to go and get through to the latter stages, he won't want to pass that opportunity up. He'll want to get the 3 points in Croatia on Tuesday night.
Did Kyogo just give everyone a reminder of his finishing prowess with that goal just at the end?
It was unbelievable.
Terrific goal.
It was unbelievable. For the awareness to actually to know what's all around you when that ball's coming to you, to let it through. The first touch was excellent, then the little dink as well. Fantastic finish. And do you know something? When you look at Kyogo, from a striker's point of view, he's a lot of strikers' goals come late on in games, but because of the new or the way that football is now. You've got a striker that plays 60 minutes and then he comes off and the other one comes on and then they seem to be the one that's getting the goals. And that's what Ida's been doing recently. Kyogo has probably thought, oh, here's an opportunity for me to come on and get a goal. And that's exactly what happened. But what a finish it was. What a finish. The awareness and then to carry that technique out. Really, really top finish. But it doesn't come as a surprise, to be honest, because you look at him and he's, although he works ever so hard for the team, he's still got that little bit of quality whenever it's needed in front of goal.
Yeah. It's such a hectic week. We'll be back on Friday, buddy, with a special looking ahead to the Premier Sports Cup final at Hampden on Sunday. Also looking
I agree with that because I might not want to do it on Monday.
Well, listen, you have to do it on Friday, certainly, because we'll look at Scotland's World Cup draw, see who Steve Clarke gets in the qualifiers for 2026 in the States and North America. We'll also look back on an amazing week of Europe. We talked about Dinamo Zagreb Celtic Tuesday evening. What about Rangers Tottenham on Thursday night? They both played yesterday, contrasting results. Rangers win 3-0 against Ross County in the Highlands, which is what they couldn't do last season. And Ange and Spurs losing 4-3 at home to Chelsea after being 2-0 up. It's not the best preparation for Ibrox, mate.
No, mate. No, I mean, I think when you look at Rangers, if we focus on them first from the weekend, listen, Roger, it's a game that you'd expect Rangers to win. And this week has been a good week for Rangers in terms of, you go back to the Dundee United game, two Saturdays ago when that first 45 minutes was terrible. You fast forward the performance in Nice 4-1 comfortable. And then this week, it's 3 fixtures that you'd expect Rangers to win. But I think the manner of being able to do it, what's 10 goals, 0 conceded. When you look at where they were even 2-3 weeks ago, you never ever thought that Rangers were going to go and win a game comfortably and dominate a game the way that they've dominated, the last 3 as such. I'm not getting too carried away though. I still think there's a long, long way to go. Celtic at the weekend will give us a real gauge of where Rangers are at in terms of this development that Philip Clement keeps speaking about. But they've got a huge game on Thursday night. Ange Postecoglou. You look at he's. I bet they just wish he could play Man City every week. They'd be top of the league. It's unbelievable. But there's one thing, when you look at Tottenham Hotspur, if there is a place as a neutral you wanted a season ticket to be there, just goals galore every single game.
They're now in the bottom half of that Premier League in England, Boydie. There are big games coming up. They're away at Southampton at the weekend. They've got Liverpool, I think, before Christmas. Ange has been rotating his squad in the Europa League. Do you think he'll throw in some kids at Ibrox, or will he try and soften up Rangers for his old team on Sunday?
I don't know, to be honest. I don't know what he'll do because he is a man of his principles, isn't he? He's pretty stubborn that way, and he has made changes in this competition. You would imagine he'll probably continue to do that because, as you say, you can't get away from what's going on domestically because for Tottenham in the Premier League, it's not been good enough. There's one week you see a good performance, a really good performance at City. Then fast forward 3-4 games, and it's like, where has this Tottenham team came from? He had a few big players back yesterday. When you think of Mickey van de Ven and Romero, but Romero obviously was Van de Ven as well, struggling. So I wouldn't be surprised if he does make changes. I don't think he'll risk players that are coming back from injury and could potentially run that risk of being injured again, because he needs to start getting results domestically. Ange, and he might look at Thursdays as an opportunity just to remind everybody the job he done up here as well. So you can see both sides of it here. He might want to play a full team because he obviously needs to start getting results again. But at the same time, you can't get distracted from the need to start winning games in England. So it will be interesting. But whatever happens, there's one area. I mean, centre mid. I think they've had issues in there. Defensively, they've had issues. But in the forward area, Roger, when you look at the pace that Tottenham have got, I mean, it's devastating. There's 5-6 players easily that could play, and they're always fast as each another. So I mean, whatever happens, it's going to be a very, very tough evening for Rangers, and they're going to have to defend properly. But it's a Thursday night; you just never know what's going to happen.
One player who'll be crucial on Thursday night, you mentioned him in your column in the Scottish Sun on Saturday, John Souttar.
Yeah.
I think Rangers fans would worry you'd given him the kiss of death with that column on Saturday, but he responded very well and played very well again at Dingwall yesterday.
Yeah, I think he's touch wood that his injury passes behind him, because you look at I think when he's performing at this level, Roger, he does his class. There's no doubt about it. He's reading of the game, he's passing, he's quick, and not only that, you can see him maturing into a real leader as such as well. There was a couple of times yesterday when you looked at things that had happened, and he wasn't shy in telling the ones around him what to be doing, and if they weren't doing their job. So, and that's what you need. He's probably been, because of injuries, and then obviously because of Conor Goldson on that right-hand side as well, he's been the one that would move to the left. But, I mean, his Rangers career to start with, there was glimpses there where you thought, yeah, he's going to be a good player. But I think he's now showing that what a top defender he is. And you've got to, when you go back to the summer as well, left out of Steve Clarke's squad for the Euros, to bounce back from that, and he's probably, I mean, you would say he's a first pick for Scotland as well. That's how that's how quickly it's turned around for him. But I mean, it's down to him. I mean, he's the one that's put in the hard work. Whether that's to get his body in a better condition to allow him to play and train every single day, but he's definitely reaping the rewards of whatever he's been doing, because he's been excellent. And even yesterday as well, I thought his interview, just do the basics properly, and you've got a chance of winning games of football. There's no flashiness with him. I think when you go back to him when he burst on the scene at first at Dundee United and Hearts, he would take little chances. And that's what you get with ball playing centre backs. But I think that's been cut out his game as well, and he's matured into a real top defender. And it'll be interesting to see what happens, Roger. I said it at the weekend. Ange Postecoglou, Philip Clement said that there wasn't players going to be leaving for nothing under his watch, and it was all going to change. And he's only got 18 months left. He's crucial to what Rangers going forward. They're going to have to get something, on the table. It's on there right now. But for me, it's an offer that, listen, get that signed, and and commit your long-term future to Rangers, because they can't afford to start losing players like him now as well.
You touched upon his old club Hearts there in Europe on Thursday night as well. It's a bit deja vu. The last game they're away at Cercle Bruges, who had beaten Kilmarmock in qualifiers. Now they're away at FC Copenhagen, who beat Kilmarmock in qualifiers. They'll go there and better nick though. A 2-0 win over Dundee. They're off the bottom. And if you haven't heard, people, Lawrence Shankland scored not one goal, but two.
Yeah, I was pleased for him at the weekend. I think he's two good finishes, well, two striker finishes. Dundee might be a little bit disappointed the way the goals went in, the header, but getting himself in the position, one-touch finishes. You look at Lawrence Shankland, and there's no doubt his confidence has been has taken a dunt. But he never really shirked responsibilities. You think he's missed the penalty. I didn't like it. We spoke about it at the time. The Hearts fans giving him stick. He didn't mean to miss the penalty. And he's going through a little spell. That's when you need to get behind your players. You look at the performance. You look at his performances last season. Hearts fans got that trip in Europe, and they've got this one on Thursday night as well because of Lawrence Shankland and his performance and his goals in that last season. You look at the level that he's been performing at for a number of years now, and because of that little dip, everybody's looking at it saying, what's going on because of contract. But he answered them at the weekend, and it was two really good finishes. Delighted for him. But again, you've got the game, European game, and then you're. I think he's suspended for the weekend as well, which is a blow for him because he just want to continue that form. But when they go to Kilmarmock.
We're into the second week in December. I take it he's only scoring goals because there's a transfer window coming up, so he can be linked with Rangers again. Yeah,
maybe, you never know. That's the best time to do it. I think when you look at Lawrence Shankland, he'll always score goals. He's somebody that needs his teammates to create opportunities for him, but nobody will speak about that. There's probably not been a lot of opportunities created because he would still get himself in the position to score goals. So, I mean, I was delighted for him at the weekend, and hopefully can start to to find the net on a regular basis again, because not only for the boy himself, but for Scotland as well. You want all your strikers scoring goals, and that competition for places, and it would mean that that there's big games coming for Scotland, and you want your strikers to be scoring.
And the big game's coming for Hearts, because the way this Conference League finishes, they're away in Copenhagen this week. They've got Killie on Sunday in the league, as you touched upon. Then next Thursday, a week on Thursday, they've got Petro Cup coming to Tynecastle. And Hearts still have a really good chance of getting into that knockout stage into the new year.
Yeah, I mean, and I think this is one of the good things about that extra competition being created from UEFA. It gives teams or other teams an opportunity to go further in the competition, and I think Hearts will be looking at it saying they've got a chance of doing that, and they have to. They got off to a fantastic start, albeit it's not been great recently, but they've still got a chance of getting to the playoff rounds and see where that takes you. Again, we speak about Ange Postecoglou and Spurs with a chance of going through in Europe, and they'll expect it to. Hearts about that as well. But domestically, similar to Tottenham, Hearts need to start winning games of football in Scotland. They've done that at the weekend, a good 3 points. But there's only 3 points, Roger. 3 points separating the bottom 5 teams in Scotland.
Bonkers. It's absolutely bonkers.
It's so tight.
Hearts won. Hibs played well at Celtic Park, you have to say, after scoring 6 goals in the previous 2 games. Killie got a point at Dundee United. Motherwell won at St Mirren. St Johnstone, they got a point as well. They're not, falling down the table like some may have thought. Point at Aberdeen, that.
Yeah, it was a good point. I think if we start with Kilmarmock, it's quite a weird season for them, though. Roger, we spoke about Europe at the start of the season, and now all of a sudden, when you look at the fixtures and they've had 10 games away from home. 5 of their next 7. Yeah. 5 of their next 7 are at home, and if Derek and Derek McInnes and Kilmarnock are going to turn it around, they're going to have to make Rugby Park a fortress again and start winning games of football. Hibs, as you said there, they were they created opportunities, but off the back of the week that they had last week, and then going to Celtic Park, you kind of expected, but it'll be interesting to see how they bounce back their next game. Ross County, I thought, were really poor at the weekend, really struggled to ask any questions of Rangers. And you're right, St Johnstone, they always seem to do okay at Pittodrie for whatever reason, or against Aberdeen. Aberdeen, it's been a bad run for them. It's been a bad run. And Jimmy Tilleen, he'll need to get them back to what they were before. I think when you look at the goal, you never seen that with Nielsen, taking touch in the middle of the pitch, and then they get caught, and that wasn't happening at the start of the season. They're going to have to get back to basics, Aberdeen. But I tell you what, did I hear a little bit of booing from the home teams at Pittodrie at the weekend?
I think someone suggested it was only the second time they had heard boos at Aberdeen this season. The first time was when you arrived to cover the Rangers game for Sky. So I think there was maybe a few jeers at the final whistle. 3 points from 18.
Yeah, a bit spoiled. They're expecting now, aren't they? They're expecting.
They are still second in the league. They've got a wee break this weekend because of the Premier Sports Cup final. I don't think Aberdeen or Dundee play this weekend. The next game, I think, is home to Hibernian, so they do have a chance to stay in second place for Christmas.
Yeah, I mean, I think with the way the fixtures kind of worked out, that was always going to be the case when you've seen the points gap that they had to Rangers. But this week the last few games for both teams has definitely changed that. Rangers will be looking at it saying that they've got themselves in a position now where they can strike. Against Aberdeen, as I said, for me, we tried to talk it up, or some people did, that they were going to challenge Celtic. Absolutely no chance. And I expect Rangers to get themselves into second place pretty soon. Do I expect Rangers to close the gap on Celtic? No. But I mean, it would have been really, really worrying for Rangers if they finished third, and if that had to continue for a period of time. They've got themselves back in it now. They can get their striking distance, and Rangers will just be hoping to continue the good form they've shown. As you say, they've got a cup final, but a few games before Christmas as well that they want to pick up points. But there's one thing, it keeps it interesting, that's for sure.
Very much, it certainly does. Boydie, thank you very much indeed. As I say, we'll be back for a special Go Ballistic this Friday to look back on Celtic, Hearts and Rangers in Europe, and also to review the World Cup draw on Friday morning. Boydie, all the very best.
Cheers, Roger.